I'm going to give you guys a current price list for saying true things out loud in America. You publish a report showing that the National Guard didn't lower crime. You're going to pay $5 billion if Trump has his way. Tell CBS that censoring news for the troops would be your red line. Cost you your job. Report that sailors' families are worried about their loved ones, and your publisher, your editor, and your reporter all gone. Folks, this story is about one word, and that word is censorship. And I want to start with the new lawsuit that Donald Trump is threatening. Because back in July, the Center for American Progress crunched the crime data in every city where Donald Trump deployed the National Guard. And what did they find? No evidence that those deployments reduced violent crime at all. None. Crime has been falling for 2 years before Donald Trump sent a soldier. And the bill is tracking towards $1.7 billion for those deployments. So the President Donald Trump saw that on TV and came apart like a wet paper bag. He rebranded this think tank Center for American Lack of Progress. Oh, so devastating. Then he threatened to sue the people who fund them too. Soros, sure. But he's also going after Walmart, Apple, and Goldman Sachs. He is threatening to sue Walmart over someone else telling the truth and doing math. And then his own personal lawyer sent a 9-page letter demanding $5 billion and a retraction, along with a personal apology and, quote, unspecified financial compensation, with a 5 p.m. Friday deadline attached. And the letter ends in all capital letters, quote, please govern yourselves accordingly, end quote. Lawyers are screaming in all caps now. The caps lawyer wrote back 6 words. Truth is not and cannot be defamation, end quote. And Donald Trump's own lawyers will never say that part on camera because he does not ever want these cases to actually see the light of a courtroom. Remember the BBC lawsuit, that $1 billion of thunder over an edited speech? And the actual lawsuit? Go find it on a docket. I'll wait because the discovery is hilarious. ABC paid him. CBS paid him. Not on their merits. It's just that their parents needed favors. They needed their mergers approved. That's a toll booth. And because the second one of these trials reaches a courtroom, that discovery opens and discovery works both ways. Center for American Progress, their lawyers would get to have Trump officials under oath about what they knew about the numbers going in to the National Guard deployments. Donald Trump does not want that in public, folks. He wants an invoice. He wants a settlement. He wants somebody to flinch. And Neera Tanden just told Donald Trump in writing, nobody's flinching. All right, for you guys in the comments, tell me, what moment do you point to in this term where the press made a difference, where they changed something? What was the story? What was the reversal? What ended up with a resignation or something big? Personally, I think it's the Epstein Files coverage, because no one would let that story die, no matter how many times Donald Trump screamed that it was a hoax. But I want your list. I want to hear what you have to say. Now, I want to address every veteran watching, because the censorship here isn't hypothetical when it comes to the Pentagon. The Pentagon just fired Eric Slavin. And if you don't know who that is, he's the editor-in-chief of Stars and Stripes, along with the publisher of 30 Years and a reporter. Their official offense, insubordination. What did they actually do? They told CBS that censoring news for service members would be, quote, a red line. They said that censoring news for service members would be a red line. Hypothetically. Of course, they took that hypothetical, made it into a documentary. And oh, this all comes after they already fired the paper's ombudsman that works on independence back in April. And they installed an active duty Navy captain in leadership. A newspaper with a commanding officer is no longer a newspaper. It's a chain of command. It's a press release with a crossword puzzle in it. And why was this paper on the list? Stars and Stripes and the Military Times, they're the ones that have been reporting that families of sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln were worried about their loved ones' well-being on that deployment. That's reporting that military families depend on. And yet the response from the Navy Secretary, from Hegseth, from Trump, downplay it all and deny. And so now the people who published that truth are getting separation notices. And the twist, think about this. In 2020, Donald Trump personally saved this exact paper from a Pentagon shutdown, tweeting out that it stays funded, quote, under my watch. That was a suckers and losers week, and he saved it while the cameras were hot. And then he gutted it the minute the cameras were shut down. He is erasing his own administration's decency one institution at a time. And presiding over the military half, you got Pete Hegseth. He's still barking about warrior ethos from official podiums, still sneering, talking about dudes in dresses. And he's yelling at troops braver than he'll ever be, wearing his giant belt buckle, sweating through the flag pin like the supplements are doing the real work for him. And under all that costume, Guard members are telling reporters that they are being used as, quote, toy soldiers. Soldiers' families are begging to be heard. Morale is not in the basement, it's in the sub-basement. And our country's fighting force has been remodeled into nothing more than a loyalty pageant. The military, frankly, is starting to look just like its boss, folks. Loud, vain, swollen, and allergic to facts. And you're seeing an exodus that keeps rolling on. Because right before I filmed this, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, Trump's own drone guy, the workhorse they sent to Kiev when the grown-ups were needed, is expected to step down by year's end in the middle of having a fight with Hegseth. This is the same Driscoll who swore back in April in writing he had no plans to depart or resign. That's right after Hegseth purged all of his allies, including the Army's top general, mid-war. Well, folks, the workhorse is leaving. And yet the guy with the giant belt buckle spewing transphobia everywhere is staying. That's who gets to win inside the building. And it's not the real soldiers. It's not the people putting their lives on the line. Now, step back and think about that enemy's list that they have right now, the press, when it reports accurately. 2/3 of the country, all of his former staff, official statements calling them crazy exes. Hegseth's own wife. You also have Trump's wife, missing and coming back just when Natalie appears. Trump has declared war on entire ethnic groups, entire states, and now the man is genuinely baffled when people cover that honestly. He's baffled that the room doesn't worship him. Remember, this is the guy who couldn't stay away from the rescheduled Correspondents' Dinner a few weeks back, a room he boycotted his whole first term because he could not resist the last room still being allowed to look directly at him and say what they wanted. He took the podium there. He's the guy who will sue them on Monday, dine with them on Saturday, and scream at them in between. When everyone on earth is your enemy, Donald Trump, the common denominator is you. Funny how that works. And oh, by the way, about looking directly at him, I've got to bring this up. People are speculating about the president's health. It's just speculation. But the internet did watch him show up 34 minutes late on Wednesday, out of breath, and he crab walked sideways across the Roosevelt room, never turning his back to the camera.
It's a serious group of people here.
Just a couple of days after, his own press secretary posted a video of a large, rectangular, unmistakably boxy shape coming out from the back of his suit. Levitt posted it herself. Friendly fire, folks. Now, nobody knows what it is, a monitor, a catheter, the last 3 Epstein files. The White House insists that his health is, quote, excellent. And look, this fat orange man can wear any medical rig he likes. 80 years old happens. But when people report honestly, he's got a pattern. Sue the data, fire the reporters, and then crab walk in front of your own damn cameras. It is all the same instinct, folks. Censor what you can and sue what you can't. And that's why I'm asking you to subscribe to the Ring of Fire. We're independent and we're unsuable into silence, at least for now. They're welcome to try. The discovery alone would be so fun. $5 billion for a spreadsheet. Pink slips because you drew a red line. And now you put a commanding officer in a newsroom. That is what censorship looks like, people. It's not burning books. It's just the people who fire anyone who speaks up. Please govern yourselves accordingly.